So good afternoon, and my name is Bryan, and we're going to be going over how to become an adult education and or a community college non-credit instructor. So that's going to be from 1 to 2:15 today. So if we can go to the next slide. So the question is, what is non-credit? Well, in the community college, we're used to classes that carry what we call a load or a 1 unit to maybe 5 unit credit. There also has the non-credit program, which is their version of the adult education program. So non-credit instruction includes an array of no-cost courses that help students reach their personal, academic, and professional goals. There's 10 non-credit categories that were established to classify a non-credit course in accordance with the primary objective. And these are found in the Title V regulations in the Code of Regulations in the California Education Code. We can go to the next slide. So what is community college non-credit and how do you meet the requirements to be an instructor? Well, I'm going to use ESL as an example, English as a second language. So for an individual that holds a bachelor's degree in teaching English as a second language or teaching English to speakers of other languages, that's one way. Another way is a bachelor's degree in either education, English, linguistics, applied linguistics, or any foreign language, composition, bilingual, bicultural studies, reading, or speech, and a certificate in teaching English as a second language, which may be completed concurrently during the first year of employment as a non-credit instructor. So if you're taking notes, that's something that you want to write down. Some community colleges will let you start teaching, and then if you concurrently enroll in their required courses, they will allow you to continue, and you won't gain permanency or seniority until you've completed that class or those classes. Another way of meeting this requirement is a bachelor's degree in any of the majors specified in subdivision 2 above, and 1 year experience teaching ESL in an accredited institution, and a certificate of teaching English as a second language, which may be completed concurrently during the first 2 years of employment as a non-credit instructor. So that's another one. This time they're saying you have 2 years that you can do that requirement. The third is possession of a full-time, clear, designated subjects adult education teaching credential, authorizing instruction in English as a second language. So there's a lot of misconceptions when individuals go to human resources at a lot of the community colleges. And if you're really eager and wanting to teach and you meet these requirements, you sometimes have to bring and show them that, hey, I have this clear community college credential or clear designated subjects adult education teaching credential. So the question is, how do you get a clear credential? Well, that means that you did all the coursework that was required by the Commission on Teacher Credentialing, and you also taught a minimum number of classes. Usually that's going to be specified when they give you your credential. Now you notice the next one says, or a valid community college credential authorizing service in the appropriate subject matter. Well, they don't give community college credentials anymore. In 1990 is when they stopped, but there are some of us that still have lifetime community college credentials, so we would qualify under that. So we can go to the next slide. Yvonne?
Yeah, sorry, it was just a little lagging. It's on the next
No
slide.
problem. No problem. So we have what's called career development and college preparation, commonly called CDCP. This is really important. The enactment of the community college funding legislation, Senate Bill 361, was established the career development and college preparation program. These certificates are offered in several areas of studies. Colleges may offer non-credit programs of 2 or more courses to prepare students for employment or to be successful in college level credit coursework. So the non-credit courses offered in the 4 distinct categories. So we have these instructional domains. So we talked about English as a second language, ESL, elementary and secondary basic skills, short-term vocational, and workforce preparation. So if you're wondering why would a community college have elementary, secondary, basic skills? Well, there's individuals that for a variety of life reasons didn't get to complete certain trainings and education in their lives. They had to drop out of school, maybe there were family issues. This is an opportunity for them to come back and earn their high school diploma, sometimes their 8th grade certificate of completion. When we talk about the vocational aspect, it could be everything from machinery, carpentry, a locksmith class, workforce preparation. We're going to help the students develop a portfolio or resume, or we're going to talk with them about letters of reference. We're going to talk about cover letters. So there's a lot of very important stuff that's funded under this Senate Bill 361. Okay, we can go to the next slide. So as I mentioned, adult high school diploma program. Colleges may offer a high school diploma program as described in the California Code of Regulations Title V, Section 55154. The adult high school diploma conveys the same status as completion of a K-12 diploma. So if that's something that you're really interested in teaching, you want to really take a look at Title V in Section 55154 and really get to know that so that when you're teaching this, you have a status to share with the students so they realize that this diploma is just as good as the one that an employee would be looking at from somebody that graduated from a compulsory high school. Okay, we can go to the next one. Thank you. What is California adult education? As I kind of mentioned earlier, it's really got some simplicity to it, but we're going to really dive into it. Adult education programs offer their communities both state-supported general education courses and community education fee-based classes. So I know earlier you heard me say the classes were free. Well, community education classes, they charge. And when they're fee-based, that means that they're not supported by taxpayers' money. They're what we call self-supporting classes. And when they're fee-based, there's generally not a certificate of completion and or units attached to it. I'm not sure what happened. There you go. So those classes, a special interest type class, like maybe there's somebody who is teaching an artistic class and arts and crafts, sometimes some older adult programs that aren't tied to the non-credit side. So those instructors would not have to meet the same rigorous requirement as the non-credit side like ESL and maybe the vocational or CTE side where there's some stricter regulations. So we call this state supported classes, and they include, as I mentioned, GED or diploma preparation. And diploma preparation is getting these students ready so that they can take the GED, which is the General Education Development Test, and get their high school equivalency or diploma. English as a second language and citizenship courses, very important stuff. Parent education. Sometimes they're court-ordered parenting where the community college ties in with the local superior court judges and they become a viable option for the number of hours that are court-ordered for parents to have to go to parenting classes. Sometimes parents voluntarily say, you know what? I want to learn how to be a better parent. So there's some parent education classes. And as I mentioned, vocational education and courses for older adults. So when we talk about vocational, the idea is to help people get the skills that are going to get them employment. So they're usually short term, maybe 6 weeks, where they're going to teach them the bare bones, how to do the particular job. Let's say it's a custodial class and the individual that's teaching the class had a number of years as a custodian, a head custodian, a supervisor, and they're going to be able to teach individuals from nuts to bolts how to start cleaning a classroom, how to start with mopping, how to not mix chemicals together that are going to cause a toxic cloud. So there's a variety of things that I'm just kind of throwing out there. So community education classes, you heard me mention, these are going to be commonly called fee-based. And they're going to involve a wide selection of interests from, as I mentioned, art, could be music and dance, languages, business and finance, and computer education. So sometimes somebody comes to, let's say, a dean at a community college and says, you know what, I fixed computers for 25 years, but I don't have the minimum qualifications to be a non-credit instructor. But I really believe that I can help people how to work on their own computers. Well, that dean has the authority to create what we call a fee-based class and say, well, here's some of the guidelines. You can write up a proposal. And after that proposal is written up, we'll review it. If they approve it, then they can have where maybe they do a 60-40 split and the community college gets 60%, the instructor gets 40. They usually don't call them an instructor. They call them maybe a presenter or a professional expert. Okay, we can go to the next one. Now we're talking about designated subjects credentials. Now, this part is really important because the K through 12 adult schools are separate from the community colleges, and they are still under the Education Code and the Commission on Teacher Credentialing, and they require that holders that are teaching have an actual teaching credential. So if I could get Yvonne to help click that first link, and let's see if that's going to play.
Give me a second. I'm going to try to share
No
sound.
problem. I
Yep.
appreciate your expertise.
And there's sound, right? Bryan, there's sound?
Yes.
You'll hear it. No. Let me see.
I think it stopped, Yvonne.
Oh, did you hear the sound though?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Welcome to Orange Coast College, your destination for learning and developing career skills and advancing your education, right in the heart of Southern California. It is never too late to take that first step in getting to where you want to be, and we're here to help. Interested in gaining new skills that will help you move forward and thrive in a career? We've got you covered. At Coast, we offer over 50 career and technical programs, such as early childhood education, healthcare, business, professional mariners, manufacturing, aviation, and many more.
My favorite part of the early childhood class is to learn the stages of the child development and learn how we can help children and how we can understand them.
Adult education at Orange Coast College also offers a free personal care aid training program, your opportunity to enter the healthcare industry. In just a few weeks, you will learn how to be a personal care aide, get certified in first aid and CPR, and prepare for job interviews.
My favorite part of that personal care aid program is that we do a lot of hands-on training, and the layout of the classroom is like a hospital. So we have the bed, we have all the materials, so it's really easy for us. I learned how to be able to transfer a person from their bed to the wheelchair. I learned how to bathe them, and I also learned how to feed them.
Need help preparing for college and the workforce? Adult Education at Coast offers a free English as a second language workshop that'll help you improve literacy and get ready for college. You'll be able to practice English speaking, listening, reading, and writing, as well as receive free tutoring.
I advise all adult students to come to take ESL class in OCC College because they will improve their listening, speaking, reading, and writing English skills. They will have self-confidence to communicate with other people, and they can achieve also their SMART goals or have their dream jobs.
So what are you waiting for? There's no better time than now to take that first step. Contact the Adult Education Office and see how Coast can help you get to where you want to be.
Super. So one of the things that's important, and people ask all the time, well, why would somebody want to take a non-credit class when we offer units and degree transfer and all these other bells and whistles? Well, for some people, number one, as we mentioned, they're going to be free at the community college non-credit adult ed. And the second thing is they're going to be short-term, so that it's going to provide them with entry-level skills to gain employment. So often we want to encourage them to come back and hopefully earn that AA degree and hopefully transfer to a four-year university and get that bachelor's degree. But unfortunately, that may not be feasible for everybody or necessary. So it really provides a vital, vital service. So we'll go back to talking about adult ed in just a second. Yvonne, would you be kind enough to clip that next link? No, the next one. Yeah, you did that. There you go, right there. Thanks. So this information is open to everybody. And as you can see, the link is from the California Department of Education. And as you get into the education business, you hear all kinds of things like CDE, which is California Department of Ed, IEPs. You hear all these acronyms. We're really good at acronyms in education. So one of the things that I want to look at, if you could go to the top, there you go, is it says adult education provides educational opportunities and services to equip adults with knowledge and skills necessary to participate effectively as citizens, workers, parents, and family and community members. Instructional programs ensure that adults have the education and skills required in a competitive economy for a better quality of life. So I want to spend just a little bit of time talking about what that means. And what that basically means is that we're not trying to get people jobs at minimum wage, working in fast food industry or working in that type. We're trying to get individuals to have a thirst, a hunger for education, to become lifelong learners, while we're also going to hopefully provide them with skills that are necessary to be good citizens, good parents, understand how to read things and understand it for their children and grandchildren. And also, we talk about this word competitive economy, so that they can compete in this global economy that we have. Adult students are served by school districts, community colleges, community or faith-based organizations, volunteer literacy organizations, public or private nonprofit agencies, public libraries, correctional facilities, and state agencies. So the idea of a college and people come to the physical college to take classes are great, but over the past couple decades, community colleges and adult schools have realized they have to come where the students are. So if a student is incarcerated, they're still entitled to education, especially if they're under 18. And we have programs where even incarcerated individuals can earn their master's degrees. And there's colleges and universities that bring college courses to that. Same thing with adult with disabilities. Individuals with cognitive, physical, sensory, or medical disabilities or mental disorders, adult education provides modified equipment, materials, and instructional strategies to increase literacy for both individuals and families, as well as workplace skills. And one thing that it didn't mention that I want to throw out there is that there's also programs for the incarcerated individual's family so that they have coping skills for when the individual is released, if they're going to be released on parole, and how to deal with that, and also programs to deal with the young people that grow up with incarcerated family members. And as you can see, we can't dig into everything because we've got quite a bit of stuff to go through. But I want to just really get people to realize that community college classes come to you. We have classes all over in skilled nursing facilities under non-credit where they hire instructors to work with the gerontological programs. I mean, I could go on and on. So it's really would be in your best interest to really dig into the community colleges. And I'm just going to pump up right now the Los Angeles Community College District because they have 9 campuses and they're the largest community college system in the world. So when students ask me about where's the best place to try and get a job, they are continuously hiring for part-time adjunct, both credit and non-credit instructors. And when we talk about adult ed in just a moment, think about the Los Angeles Unified School District. That's another great place to get your teeth kind of going and get your skills up to date and hopefully have a great career. So if we could go to the next slide. So now we're going to dig into this adult ed. And first thing I want to mention, there are many, many programs out there. I don't want anyone to leave here and think, well, he's pumping up Cal State Long Beach. This just happens to be one of the ones we'll talk about. Los Angeles County Office of Education has an adult ed and C.T.E credential program. Cal State Dominguez still has one as well. I mean, there's a lot of them out there, but I want to utilize the information from Cal State right now. And this is from Cal State San Bernardino. So their designated subject credential in adult ed. And then I know it can be confusing. So I want to just kind of put it quick out there so it's not quite as confusing. The designated subject credentials, there's 3 types. We have the adult ed, which is what we're talking about today. Then there's the C.T.E, which is career technical education. And then there's the special subjects. Special subjects include driver education, driver training, aviation, and also military and drill. For the adult ed, it's important that you realize that when you clear that credential, you are able to teach in the subject named on it at a community college in the non-credit program. Unfortunately, I have no idea why, but the vocational education credential or the C.T.E credential, career technical ed, does not qualify for the community colleges. They do not recognize that under Title V. So I just want to make sure everyone's kind of aware of that. So appropriate work experience and a high school diploma or the equivalent are required for admission to the designated subjects career and technical education program. For the adult ed, A bachelor's degree is going to be generally, for most subjects, the requirement. There are some exceptions because just when you thought I mentioned C.T.E, well, the adult ed credential also has C.T.E with industry sectors. So I know it can be kind of confusing, but the adult ed credential does not allow you to teach in the high school or middle schools, only at the adult and community college non-credit areas, where the CTE credential is a high school and some middle school authorization. And then it gets confusing because it says adult also, but does not include community college. So as you kind of learn more about this and do your own investigations, you'll see that a lot of this stuff can be confusing. So if you could go back just a little bit, Yvonne, there we go. So you see where it says required courses to clear credential. If you're really interested in this, I strongly suggest wherever you pick, whether it's LA County Office of Education, Cal State San Bernardino, whatever the institution, there's several out there, as I mentioned, Cal State Dominguez, you really should take principles and methods for teaching designated subjects credential before you really start. And that will give you that foundation that you need. And you can do it while you're applying, because just going right into a classroom without any background in education coursework is going to be really tough. But that's just kind of my side note. So these are the classes that Cal State, San Bernardino requires. Every Cal State or UC program or private institution that does what we call the LEA, which is the local educational agency, they're going to have their own nuances as far as what they're going to require you to do to clear that credential. Okay, Yvonne, we can go to next one. Yeah, I think we're done with that slide. There we go. Now, this is the requirements for adult education, what we call non-academic areas. No CBEST is required. You see that in red. There's a lot of information about the California Basic Education Skills Test. And most recently, if you have a bachelor's degree, it's very easy to waive the CBEST right now, especially. But for the adult education non-academic credential, they are not requiring the CBEST. What they're requiring is that you have 3 years of experience and or education directly related to the subject named on the credential. A high school diploma is required, and they do have the equivalency, which would be the GED test or the foreign equivalency. And I really want to make sure everybody keys into this. Recommendation by a commission-approved program sponsor. And I have it kind of in bold there, university or approved local educational agency, which would be like the Los Angeles County Office of Education, Orange County Office of Ed, Riverside County Office of Ed, or San Bernardino County Office of Ed. General subjects. They used to be called non-academic. Now they're going to what they call general subjects that may be listed on a credential. So art includes the subject areas adaptive arts and crafts, adults with disabilities. So when you see the word adaptive, we're going to be looking at the fact that as the teacher teaching an adaptive art class, arts and crafts, you're going to have to adapt the methods and modes and means of how you teach these older adults with disabilities. Arts and crafts, general, creative arts, older adults, decorative arts, interior design, performing arts for older adults. So this is going to be that gerontology type program I talked about. Health and safety includes the subject areas adaptive physical education. So in high school, they have adaptive PE. In middle school, they have adaptive PE. This is for adults. So we're talking about working with individuals, helping them, but following maybe their doctor's prescription on stretching, really modified activities. Then cardiopulmonary resuscitation and first aid, which is very important, and that's for everybody. Environmental safety, health education, health for older adults, health adults with disabilities, physical fitness, nutrition, physical fitness, conditioning, safety for older adults, and safety education. So I'll just give an example. I saw a class offered to help older adults get in and out of the shower. And that class is very important because as individuals get up there in age and have physical limitations, we don't want them to get hurt. Family education includes the subject areas of adaptive computer technology. So again, helping individuals that may have carpal tunnel, that may have physical conditions, learn how to use the computer and have maybe a device that they can speak into that will type for them, a teletype, all kinds of different things, special mouse, special keyboards. So that's anytime you see that adaptive, that's what we're talking about. So then we'll skip down and go to family education. We'll talk about childbirth education, communication skills. That's very important for everybody, no matter how old they are. Clothing construction, dietetics, food management, food preparation. You know, I'm sure everyone's heard of Meals on Wheels, those type of programs, family management, home management, human development, interior design, nutrition. Again, that parent education, public affairs, self-maintenance for older adults, safe self-maintenance for adults with disabilities. Now, another one that's really important is this financial literacy. Includes subject areas, consumer education, and retirement planning, helping people understand that, you know, we have individuals when you go to get gas that put those devices on the gas where the credit cards go in, helping individuals regardless of age understand about credit reports and fraud, consumer fraud. Then you notice that I have here career technical education, 15 sectors. So these industry sectors are the same as the C.T.E credential, but they're only for adult ed. So I know it can be confusing, but you can look at those sectors and they can be taught at the adult school, but for adults. We can go to the next slide. So this one is adult education academic. So for this one, there's no way around a BA degree or BS. It says no exceptions. The CBEST, again, most of the schools and programs, if somebody holds a bachelor's degree, there is a waiver still available. The credential holder in these areas must possess a bachelor's degree or higher, completed at a regionally accredited college or university. Now, the best thing you're going to walk away with today is what I have in red right here. 20 semester units or 10 upper division semester units in the subject to be taught. And a lot of people don't understand what that means. So I'll give you an example. If you hold a bachelor's degree and you have 10 upper units in health, then you can get health put on that adult education teaching credential. Everything that you have 10 upper division units or 20 units total. So some of them can be upper, some can be lower, or all 20 can be lower. If you hold a bachelor's degree, you can get those subjects added to that California Designated Subjects Adult Education Teaching Credential if that was one of the subject areas. So academic subjects that may be listed on a credential. So there's tons and tons of subjects that are what we call authorized. So as you can see, I've utilized ESL again. The program sponsor may only recommend for designated subjects adult education credentials in the academic subject areas below. So we'll take a look at those. So we have English as a second language. The holder, as I mentioned, must have a bachelor's degree or higher, completed at a regionally accredited college or university, to include a degree major certificate or completion of 20 semester units or 10 upper division semester units in one of the following combinations. So there's a certificate called a TESOL. And I'll just throw this out. I believe UCLA Extension, UC Riverside Extension, they offer the TESOL, which is teaching English as a second language. So the commission can, and I say can because it really depends, say, well, let's say you only had 15 units, but then you had this certificate that you took at somewhere that didn't have units attached. That's why it says certificate there. They could say, okay, well, that meets the same requirements. Then we have teaching English to speakers of other languages. That's a TESOL. Second language acquisition, language other than English, linguistics, bilingual, bicultural studies. We can go to the next slide. And as I mentioned earlier, the adult schools, and we're not talking about the community college right now. We're talking about the K-12 adult schools. LA Unified has a lot of them. Baldwin Park has adult schools. El Monte has the El Monte Rosemead adult schools. Culver City has Culver City adult schools. Most cities have them. They have elementary and secondary basic skills. It includes basic education in grades 1 through 8. So that's going to be your really remedial subjects. So I've had a lot of students that have a bachelor's degree that say, well, I'm not very good at math. Well, this is going to be arithmetic. This is literally going to be your lower multiplication, maybe some division, adding, subtracting. It's not your higher level math skills. Reading, it's going to be your really low reading at that 1st through 8th grade. GED, we talked about. Now, where it says contract class settings, that's where employers can contract with the adult school and say, I want an instructor to come to our work location and teach these basic skills. And some companies have done that because they really have stock in their employees, but they realize that some of their employees may lack that real basic skills. And they can also do that with the community colleges. They can contract with the non-credit so that they can get a non-credit instructor to come as well, and maybe a credit as well. And then citizenship. So those are really important classes. It says, note, credential holders must possess a bachelor's degree or higher completed at a regionally accredited college or university and completion of 20 semester units with at least 3 units in 4 of the following 6 areas: English, math, science, social sciences, fine arts, language other than English. So for language other than English, specify. So let's just say French. That would count. English, fine arts, life sciences, including general science, mathematics. You notice it doesn't specify what level of mathematics. Physical science, including general science, social science class. It's going to be your history. It's going to be your government, political science, those type of classes. Okay, we can go to the next one. Now, as I mentioned, I don't want to confuse anybody. The career technical education is one of the fastest growing areas of education. These courses prepare students from middle school to adult for specific trades in 15 industry sectors. teachers pursuing a CTE credential come directly from those industry areas. So we're talking right now about career tech ed at adult ed or community college non-credit. But for those of you that are interested in teaching middle school or adult school and high school, you can look at the CTE credential that has what we call a 9 through 12 authorization. Okay, next. If we could click that, that would be great. So I want to give credit to the Los Angeles County Office of Education. And if you chose to go there, this is one of the approved agencies. Yeah, you can go up a little bit for me, Yvonne. All right, keep going, keep going. Right there. So if you chose to go through LACO, welcome to the Los Angeles County Office of Education Designated Subjects Credential Program. LACO is an accredited program sponsored by the Commission on Teacher Credentialing, CTC, to recommend the designated subjects preliminary and clear adult ed credential in collaboration with the University of San Diego. So they've tied in with the University of San Diego. They also offer the CTE credential. So I just want to leave that on there. Can we make it a little bit bigger, Yvonne, in case somebody wants to take a picture of that? And again, I'm not pumping up one program. I'm just letting you know that there's a variety of programs that are out there. Very good. So in case somebody wanted to get this, and then we can probably put it in the chat as well. Okay, super, Yvonne. If you can just go up a little bit for me. There we go. So it says getting started. You have received a preliminary credential requirement letter. Well, we're going to say if, because this is presuming you did. So I'll kind of bird walk just a little bit. So what happens is there's such a shortage of teachers, especially in the K-12, but at the adult schools as well, that the Commission on Teacher Credentialing is backlogged. So if the county, if Cal State Dominguez, let's say, says, it looks like you qualify for a preliminary designated subjects adult ed credential, they can send your stuff to Sacramento and give you a letter. And on that letter, an employer can hire you and they can get you what they call a TCC, which is a temporary county certificate. You can teach on that temporary county certificate until your credential is cleared. But remember, it's only the Commission on Teacher Credentialing that issues the actual credential. But they can give you this TCC, and it's to get you paid. Okay, if you can go to the next one, appreciate it. So this is the AE, stands for Adult Ed. So Adult Ed credential coursework. And every institution is going to be slightly different in how they do it. LACO's program, I believe, is 100% online. And I'm not saying good, bad, or indifferent, but that's the LACO program. Some of the universities have a blended, and I believe there's still some that have it where you go face-to-face and take the actual classes. So if we can go a little bit forward. Right there's good. So I'll just read this real briefly, and then we'll go on to the next slide. So after completion of the early orientation, adult ed candidates must complete the following. So what that early orientation is going to do, it's really important, is teach you things like you don't ever leave your classroom unattended. You don't leave a classified instructional aid in a classroom with students by themselves. You don't give your keys to kids. You always maintain notes for yourself in case you're going to be absent, something to leave for the substitute teacher lesson plans. You follow your lesson plan. It's going to really give you the nuts and bolts because the state realizes that you may have to wait. So I don't want anyone to get scared, but if you look at the fees, it's important that you understand that this is what LACO charges, and it's $620 for the first class. It's $620 for the second, the third $620, then $360 for the portfolio, and then the health ed class is $280, and then that tells you the total cost is going to be $2,500. Each college, university is going to be different. It's important that you shop around, find out which one is the best for you. It's not always which one's going to be less expensive. A lot of factors you want to look at as far as where you get your credential and your coursework done. Okay, we can go to the next slide.
Slide or keep on
Yeah,
going?
we'll go to the next slide. Yeah, we go to the next slide. Thank you, Yvonne. Now, just when you thought you had it down, we're going to throw your curveball. And I'm not the expert on the career paths, but I know there was a presentation earlier today where they kind of did a deep dive into them. So I'm just going to kind of give you a short down and dirty. So there's 15 of these areas that are commonly known as industry sectors. So the first one is agriculture and natural resources. The second one, arts, media, and entertainment, building and construction trades, business and finance, education, child development, and family services, energy, environment, and utilities, engineering and architecture, fashion and interior design, health science and medical technology, hospitality, tourism and recreation, information and communication technologies, manufacturing and product development, marketing, sales and service, public services, and transportation. Now, even though we're talking about community college, non-credit, and adult, those 15 sectors are also in the K-12. But as you heard earlier, they talked about middle school and high school. So know that those are transferable, but the credential, this is where I know it gets kind of technical. If you got a C.T.E credential, not an adult ed, yes, you could teach whatever sector is in here that you qualified for, that you were recommended for at both the adult school and at the high schools. If you got an adult ed credential with one of these sectors on here, you could only teach it at the adult school. And once you cleared it, you could teach that sector in the non-credit portion of the community college. So I hope that kind of explains it. Now, one thing I do want to mention is it says the preliminary designated subject C.T.E teaching credential authorizes the holder to teach in the subject or subjects named on the credential in grades 12 and below and in courses organized primarily for adults in career technical, trade, or vocational courses. The clear designated subject C.T.E teaching credential authorizes the holder to teach in the subject or subjects named on the credential in grades 12 and below in courses or classes organized primarily for adults, including service to English learners, specifically designed academic instruction delivered in English, we call C.D.I, in career, technical, trade, or vocational courses. So we're talking here about the adult ed authorization for C.T.E. And again, I know it can be confusing. That's why I'm kind of trying to bird walk a little bit. Okay, we can go to the next one. Now, individuals must satisfy all of the following requirements. 3 years of work experience directly related to each industry sector to be named on the credential. 1 year equals 1,000 clock hours, and the experience may be full or part-time, paid or unpaid. See terms and definitions for additional information regarding the experience requirement. High school diploma requirement by one of the following methods: possession of a high school diploma, possession of a diploma based on passage of the GED test, possess the foreign equivalent of a high school diploma. So with number one, there are some school districts that even though the state says 3 years, they say 5. And it used to be 5 years of experience. So a school district or community college can go above the minimal quals, but they can't go below. So that's why it's important that you read the job specification requirements for the individual school that you want to apply to teach at. Okay, we can go to the next slide. So we're not going to go through the CBEST right now, but Yvonne, if you could click the one that says jobs underneath there. So based upon input from last year when I did this, I came up with this brand new listing to kind of illustrate. And I don't want anyone to think that I'm pumping Los Angeles Community College District up, but as I mentioned, they're the biggest community college district in the world. So if you look, you're going to see this is for an adjunct part-time position for citizenship non-credit. And if we can move it up just a little bit, Yvonne. So for qualifications, it says a bachelor's degree in any discipline and 6 semester units in American history and institutions, demonstrated sensitivity to and understanding of the diverse academic, socioeconomic, culture, disability, and ethnic backgrounds of community college faculty, staff, and students. Now, if you go to desired, you'll see that the last thing it says is possession of a California designated subjects adult education teaching credential authorizing instruction in the subject matter. So I get asked this all the time. People say to me, well, if I have a master's degree and I don't have a credential and I legally can teach at the community college, why do they also say desirable for the credential? It's because of the coursework and the fact that you have experience teaching the adult education. So it gives you that little bit of an edge. So if you don't have a credential, but you have the qualifications, I would really encourage you to take at least one of the teacher training classes so that it's not so much that you're going to have an upper hand, but if you get in the classroom or when you get in the classroom, you're going to have that ability to understand more of what the requirements are. So now, if you go a little higher, Yvonne, you see where it says compensation? LA Community College is probably one of the higher paid ones for non-credit. So when you look at $79.20, the lowest I think I've seen was about 40 an hour, maybe 38 for community college non-credit. So LA Community College is pretty good as far as the pay. It's going to be less than the academic side of the house, but the requirements are going to be less. And as far as the workload, there's going to be a lot less of out of the classroom requirements. at the community colleges, there's a lot of requirements that faculty be involved in things. At the non-credit, it's not quite so much. Okay, if we can go to the next slide. If you could click that LA Unified one for me. So I'll read the first thing. And again, these are two big employers in the area for adult education. And it says, Dear candidate, thank you for your interest in teaching with the Los Angeles Unified School District Adult and Career Education Division. Our students in our schools are eager to learn from the most effective teachers. Please note, California Education Code, section 44001, and it goes on with all these other sections, talk about that in order to provide English learner, students must hold the appropriate EL authorization. Below you will find a list of the Division of Adult Education and Career Education Services area. Candidates are able to view all current vacancies within each service area. All vacancies are updated daily. Now, understand that LA Unified has such a big adult ed and career technical ed area. They have their own personnel division that handles just these jobs. So if we go up a little bit more and we can click and let's just do the one, since we did ESL before. Yvonne, if you could click under adult ed, the next one, virtual, down a little bit more. Right there is good. Career, health, foundations in health. Thank you. We make that a drop bigger. Now, this job is a CTE instructor, Foundations to Health Careers, and it's virtual, so it's going to be an online, and it's the salary. The salary will be based on the current negotiated teacher hourly rate, because LA Unified's CTE teachers in adult ed are protected under the UTLA contract, which is the same contract that the regular academic teachers are under. So if you talk about duties, it talks about practice effective classroom management for group study and individualized instruction, maintain a learning environment designed to stimulate interest and maximize learning. So I'm not going to read the whole thing, but if we could go down a little bit, Yvonne, to where it says minimum quals. There we go. They want you to have a valid, clear, or preliminary California teaching credential with a designation to teach in the health science and medical technology industry sector. Then LAUSD Child Abuse Awareness Training Certificate. And I've known that some students that were really interested in these jobs, they went and they called or they emailed the principal and said, I'm not quite done yet. I'm interested in education. Do you have any pointers you can give me? Those are the best people, because they really want to get people that are interested in working with young people or adult ed if they're going to do that. Okay, we can go to the next slide. So we can go to the next one.
I think that's the last.
Okay, super. Then what we can do is we now can have you close the Zoom, excuse me, not the Zoom, the presentation, and I can go to where I can check the chat to see if we have any questions. I apologize, I didn't see the chats here. Let me go right here and let me answer some of the questions. Okay, I see there. Super. So does anybody have any questions they want to put in the chat? I answered them all. Okay, well, thank you. I appreciate that. I wish that were true, But in education, there's always going to be questions. So I'll just throw this out there. Should I apply for a job if I don't meet all of the qualifications? Well, that's a really good common question that comes up. And I would say the best thing to do is call human resources, because there's a little known fact that I'm going to put in the chat. At the community colleges, not the K-12, they have this group called Academic Senate. And the Academic Senate can do what they call an equivalency. And the equivalency is, let's say that somebody has an AA degree and they've worked for 6 years in a particular area. Even though the actual district may want the person to have a bachelor's degree, the Academic Senate, which is a group of faculty, generally tenured, that are selected under the law, has to have what they call an equivalency committee. And I put that in the chat for you. If you're really interested, you can Google it and look it up. And it's AB 17, I said 6, but I think it's actually AB 1725, my error. And AB 1725 is an actual law that says that every community college shall look at what the Academic Senate says for equivalency. So they can have an equivalency. So I'll give you one that I was aware of, and that is a community college really needed an auto shop instructor. And the individual that wanted the job and that they really looked at didn't meet the requirements, but had been an auto mechanic for a long time, had all these certifications from smog to working on electrical vehicles, and everything. And they had an AA degree, but the job flyer said a bachelor's degree. They went to the Academic Senate and they were able to meet, and they convened a group of people, and they got people from the industry sector, and they met and they said this individual had the equivalency of what you were looking for. So I apologize. I see somebody in the chat said, if I have a multiple subject teaching credential in California with an EL authorization, would that possibly qualify for ESL instruction at the adult level? Yes, that would. So, Christopher, you can give me a thumbs up if I answered your question, but yes, that would. And you have to look at the back of the credential to see if it also says on there, and courses organized primarily for adults. And multiple subject credentials, generally, just so everyone knows, that's your elementary. So at the adult education level, 8th grade would be covered under that, the basic math skills, and ESL, especially if you have that additional EL authorization. Were there any other questions? Okay. Sarah, did we answer your question? Okay, I guess, Yvonne, if there are no more questions, I think we're right at that time, right?
Thank you
wanted to
so
do the-
much, Brian. Yeah, this was great. So much good information. So, yes, we have we'll have your recording and your presentation available on the Teach for LA site once this Teach for LA is done. But before you all go, as you know, please fill out this survey. Not only are you going to share feedback about this session, but you'll also be entered into an opportunity drawing, and we'll be drawing the names live at the closing session. So if you can take a few minutes just to do that, it's super short. And yeah, the more sessions you go to, the more likely you'll win. We've already had a few winners each each day. And yeah, we still have a few more sessions. There's one going on right now. There's a few more in the evening. So yeah, please continue to join us. And yeah, thank you so much, Bryan. Thank you everybody for coming. If you have any further questions, feel free to reach out. And yeah, thank you.
I'm still here.